On CEO Unplugged, how's it going? Bartell hanging out with Robert Hanna, and he's a founding member and the managing partner of Perez P.C, where he focuses exclusively on representing the seriously injured in personal injury matters. And also, Christopher Perez is here. He's his partner, personal injury trial lawyer also, who has zealously advocated the interests of several thousand accident victims since becoming an attorney in 2005. I'd like to welcome both Robert Hanna and Christopher Perez today on CEO Unplugged. How are you, gentlemen?
Doing great. Thank you for having us, Bartell.
Well, it is great to have you. How did you get your start in law for both of you?
I grew up, in Jersey City, New Jersey. And growing up, my father had a business here in New York City on Broadway in the Garment District. And, he taught me how to work hard, and he instilled in me this work ethic that still today is in me and is alive. He also taught me commitment to family and how to work hard for your family. And most importantly, he emphasized the importance of getting an education. My father didn't have the opportunity to get a formal education. He was from the Middle East. He was born in Syria and lived in Beirut, Lebanon for many, many years. And during the late 70s, as the Civil War went on, he escaped the Civil War and came to this beautiful country for his children to live the American dream. He always told me to go to college. That's what he emphasized. And, I was in college. I graduated at 20 years old. And he said to me, son, in this country, college is not going to be enough. You got to do more. So with my personality and demeanor, I ended up going to law school because it was the best fit for me. And, I graduated law school with honors, and I ended up opening my own law firm at 26 years old. And that drive and commitment and fearlessness came from my father's experience, the experience my father gave me as a kid. And something happened recently that instilled in me the inspiration and a sense of purpose for what I do. My father was killed in a car accident a few months ago, and it changed my life, and it inspired me and instilled this amazing inspiration and purpose to help people that have been victims of car accidents and any tragic accident, especially today as we speak with everything going on with Kobe Bryant. Yeah, and the tragedy.
Without a doubt.
The sacrifice he made for me, he came here before we were born. I was born here in New York City in 1979, and I am living the dream, the American dream that my father envisioned for his son.
Well said, Robert. Christopher, tell us about your background, please.
We're a similar age, and we have a similar story in a sense. I was a first generation here, born in New Jersey, born and raised. My mother came to this country from Puerto Rico, my dad from Spain, and so my mom primarily, she was my hero growing up, and she didn't have the benefit of an education and always told me, get an education and reach your fullest potential. And as a child, I and my immediate family members were involved in a very bad truck accident, and I lost my older brother. And from that day forward, I saw how my life had been changed, how my mother had been deeply saddened by it, and I made it my life's mission to help people who had suffered some type of similar tragedy or similar trauma, and I used that as a motivation growing up. I knew I always wanted to do something where I could help people, and it was really as I got older that the pursuit of the law kind of crystallized for me. And I knew that was probably the greatest avenue by which I would be able to achieve my dream, which was really to help people who had lived some similar experience as me.
Thank you for sharing the story. Christopher Perez is a personal injury trial lawyer who has zealously advocated the interests of several thousand accident victims since becoming an attorney in 2005. We just heard from Christopher and his story there. And Robert Hanna is here. He's founding member and the managing partner of Perez P.C, focusing exclusively on representing the seriously injured in personal injury matters. Guys, give us a background on your firm.
Well, Let me tell you a little bit how we started and how we formed Hanna Perez. So when I was still in my solo practice, I did a lot of personal injury in addition to other types of practice. But it was the year 2014. I was working on a case with a law firm, a top injury law firm that Chris Perez, my partner, was working with. They assigned Chris the case. Long story short, the case ended up going to trial. A jury verdict came back with a very, very good verdict and a very impressive verdict. During that time I spent with Chris, we got a chance to learn about each other, know each other, and ironically, it was a time when Chris was aspiring to start his own firm, and I had an existing firm, and we said, hey, why not join together and make this amazing partnership, because we can bring so much good to the world. With your strengths and my strengths combined, we're going to be unstoppable. And now we're 5 years, this month we're 5 years, exactly 5-year anniversary, and it has been the most amazing 5 years of my career, the most gratifying and the most uplifting. So, that's a quick,
Sure.
The case we worked on together was a case where a seriously injured woman was being refused any compensation, she wasn't even being lowballed. What they call no paid. She was being no paid by an insurance company who's known in New Jersey for kind of bully tactics and trying to beat people into submission, into just basically giving up their rights and voluntarily dismissing their case without going to trial. They have a tactic of forcing people out to trial. And we refused to back down in the case. We fought the case, and it was a hard-fought case. We brought in all of her treating providers, or treating doctors, that is. And the jury understood that she had a good case, and she was very badly hurt, and they gave her a very substantial verdict. And when we saw how well we worked together in that one case, we knew that there was something there. I had planned at that time to go out into my own solo practice, actually, or potentially to form a partnership, but I knew I was going out on my own at that point. For the start of 2015, and when I saw the synergy working together with Rob, I knew that there was kind of that magic, that X factor that you just
work together as great as a team.
Exactly.
That's great. How does somebody know when they actually have a solid case, gentlemen?
The reality is they don't. In this day and age, the law has become so advanced, and the law in certain aspects is very antiquated. It evolves over time, and to analyze any set of facts, the law could work in a way that's completely counterintuitive, and which really belies logic and common sense, for that matter. And so to understand whether you have a case that has merit and is a good case, you really need to go to someone who's specializing in that kind of case. There's so many general practitioners out there, and not to knock anybody, I mean, they probably do good work in some cases, but I think it's almost impossible to handle many different types of cases. That's why we focus exclusively on personal injury, because we want to deliver the highest potential quality of service to our clients, and that's what we're passionate about.
Yeah, so Chris is absolutely right. There are so many factors that come into play when evaluating a case. The beauty of working with a firm like ours is that there's a free consultation. So if somebody gets injured in any situation, whether it's a car accident, slip and fall, commercial vehicle accident, workers' compensation, if you dog bite cases, in any case where someone's been seriously injured, you call us and we give you an absolutely free consultation. And to make things even better, we have a no-fee guarantee unless we recover. So we don't charge any costs that we expend during the case, even if we lose. So it's a no-lose situation for a client. Sure. And as Chris said, you're coming to experts. I say that cautiously, but the reality is we don't do anything but this type of work. All our resources and energy is put into perfecting this practice, specifically helping those that are injured.
If somebody has any questions, where would they go to? Is it best to go to the website? Is there a phone number? Anything you can share with us today on CEO Unplugged?
The website is a great place to start, and it'll get the juices flowing. There's plenty of helpful information there. But really, the best way to understand what your rights are in a particular situation, given the complexities in the way that the law works, it's really best to come in and speak to us in person, where you're going to meet with Rob or me or one of our attorneys. You're not going to be meeting with a paralegal or a intake specialist like at many firms. You're going to be getting the real deal legal analysis where you're going to know what your rights are. Whether you hire us or not, it doesn't matter. You'll at least leave the situation knowing what your rights are. And if you leave with us, then you'll know that you have a very competent, top-notch law firm that's behind you.
And here's the beauty. You know, me and Chris, I think what's important about dealing with me and Chris is that we're young enough to be super energetic, and we have the go-getter attitude. We're passionate about what we do, but we're also old enough to be seasoned. You know, so we're in that situation. We're in that point of our careers where you know, we can relate to those younger and older than us because we're right in that sweet spot. You know, we're both 40 years. We're both 40 years old, and you know, we're in that next chapter in our life. And we promise that this is going to be the best decade of our lives.
What are some of the things to consider when hiring the absolute right representation?
It's very important that you hire an attorney that has a good track record. Here at Hanna Perez, myself and Chris and the attorneys in our firm have an absolutely impeccable track record. You know, we have great results, and we have a great reputation. What's important to note here is that, ironically, we're here on the radio advertising our company, but it's important to note that, you know, we started with no marketing and no advertising. When I started my firm in 2006, I spent nothing on advertising. All my business was word of mouth, family and friends. I opened up an office, put a shingle up with my name on it, and lo and behold, I built a big practice with thousands of clients, all from word of mouth. A handshake and eye contact to me is bond. And when me and Chris came together and formed Hanna Perez, same thing. 5 years, no marketing, all word of mouth, 100%. We just started putting ourselves out there just a few weeks ago, and we are privileged enough to be here with you today, Bartel.
Yeah.
And everything works for a reason in life. I believe in a superpower out there, and when I met Chris, my life changed for the better. Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
Great. And Rob, I actually had one of those handshakes with you this afternoon, and it was without a doubt powerful, and I felt it. So you're right about that handshake. Very important.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Why should someone hire your firm to represent them, Chris?
Well, we deliver a highly personalized approach to the law and to our clients. Many lawyers come from a particular background of legacies. Rob and I both have humble beginnings, and we bring that humility to our clients when we don't want to just get a settlement and get a check for a client. We want to make their lives better. We have an approach which is, I think, more compassionate than other attorneys. We listen to them, we hear what their concerns are, and do our best to address them. And the results show, because when you have that, when you treat a person the way they should be treated, you learn more about them. You learn more about the depth of their loss. You learn more about not only the depth of the loss for them, but their family, their children, their loved ones, sometimes their parents who they're caring for. And when a key person in a family gets a cold, the family gets pneumonia, right? I mean, and so we see that day in and day out, and we bring a true, genuine compassion to our clients, which translates in top results. And our results have been incredible since the start of our practice, and we're going to continue to deliver that type of top quality result for each client.
Yeah, absolutely. So we believe in fighting the good fight. Me and Chris have a motto within us. It's fighting the good fight. We fight that good fight. And we believe this is our calling in life. And we don't settle for mediocrity. We don't settle for average. We have a standard of excellence that we wake up every morning and exercise. And to us, that's, extremely important to us, because other people's lives are in our hands.
Yes.
And we are the in-between between the injured person and these big, bad, billion-dollar insurance companies, and we're proud to be that voice for the injured.
Can you give us an example of a win or maybe a successful outcome that you've achieved for a client?
Yeah, absolutely. There are many, but one particular one sticks out. There's a middle-aged man who I attend church with, and I'm friends with his son. And there was word one day during Mass when the priest said that this man was injured seriously and he may not make it. I was in immediate shock. A few days later, I was contacted to help the family. It wasn't an easy case. Difficult facts. He was a hardworking blue-collar guy who was hit by a vehicle while he was helping one of his employees back out of a driveway that had a blind spot. We ended up getting him in excess of $1 million for his pain and suffering. Chris can elaborate more on this.
Right. To say that the facts were difficult is an understatement. It appeared to be a near impossible case to prove or win. And that wasn't just our analysis. That was an analysis of another attorney and of one of the leading accident reconstruction experts in New Jersey. And but we looked past that, and we saw that even though one of the difficulties was this accident happened on a cold, dark, rainy night where our client had suffered brain injuries such that he could no longer recall the accident to give a clear narrative of what had happened. Right. And there were no witnesses to the accident except for the person that hit him. But through an in-depth and hard-fought litigation where we hired top-notch experts, one of which was an accident reconstructionist, we hired life care planners, we hired all sorts of legal experts, and through our investigation, we were able to prove that not only was this young driver in a position where he should have seen our client as he stood in the roadway, but he was probably either a combination of texting and driving or making a phone call, and cell phone records did demonstrate that. And so, and the deposition testimony in the case did suggest that there was much more to this accident. It wasn't just that a middle-aged man ran into the middle of the street on a dark, rainy night. Right. There was this other side. And fortunately, we were able to show that through our diligence and through our hard work in prosecuting the case. And again, tying back to what I had said earlier, by meeting his wife personally, by Rob's personal connection with the family, we knew on a personal level what they had gone through, which really translated into such a higher quality result, a result that I think not spending those hours with the family that we had spent and having dinner with them and being with them at their house, we could have never accomplished what we did for them. So that's a great example of a good result.
What do you find most rewarding is my last question today on CEO Unplugged as a personal injury attorney. What's the most rewarding?
The most rewarding thing is when at the end of the day, you know you did your best. You know you kind of turned over every stone and did everything that there was for your client. And you see that smile on their face when you're able to achieve a great result. And even the clients who you can't, let's say you try a case and you lose, a client that those clients appreciate you just the same because they see how hard you fought for them and they appreciate it. And that's the most rewarding thing for me, to be able to really make a difference and to be able to advocate for people who really need that type of representation.
Yeah, for me, it's when the case is over and I get a big hug and a big kiss and they smile from ear to ear and thank me, for what I've done for them and how their life has changed is to me worth everything.
Again, if anybody wants to get any more information about Hanna Perez P.C., where should they go and how do they do that?
www.hannaperez.com or reach us by phone at 201-224-9400.
Thanks again, Robert Hanna and Christopher Perez of Hanna Perez P.C. on CEO Unplugged.